Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video, which is all about creating habit trackers in your journal. I'm starting off by writing a list of all of the types of things that I think I want to track. And I decide on this list by looking at my goals and what I want to achieve and thinking about the habits that are most likely to get me there. And once I've got that list, I'll start creating my habit tracker. And in this video, I will be sharing 3 different types of habit trackers with you. I'm starting off with the one that you see me create most often in my monthly Plan With Me videos. I've turned my notebook to landscape so that I've got plenty of room. And I used a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen for the header. And I'm using a Staedtler pigment liner to write all of the dates across the top of the page, and down the left hand side I'm noting down all of those tasks that I want to track throughout the month. For me, I find that it's really important to make sure that I'm tracking habits that really have some value and meaning to me, and this helps keep me motivated to complete my tracker every evening. For decoration, I've used some washi tape from London Gifties, and I'll also be adding some stickers from my own product range. My habit tracker is something that I sit down every evening and just spend a couple of minutes filling in each of the rows so that I can mark down which habits I've completed. And this is how my habit tracker looks once it's completed. I've been asked lots of times to share how I create that pattern. So this is what I'm doing here. You draw one diagonal line across the box, and then you draw a smaller line either side of it. And then in each row, you just alternate the direction of those lines. On habits that I didn't complete, I leave that box empty, and I just make sure that the next box I fill in has the lines going in the right direction. And when I move on to the next day, I just again alternate the direction. So when I come to the top of this line, I'm drawing those lines so that they meet in the middle. And this creates this really lovely box pattern on your pages. You could of course use different coloured inks or simply put a cross in each box or any pattern that you like. But this has been one of my most requested videos with people asking how I create that pattern. So I really hope that this has been helpful and that you can see how easy it is to add to your journal. If you do have any questions though, please do leave them in the comments down below and I'll definitely try and help you out. So once you do that throughout all of the month, you get this lovely pattern which fills your journal pages. And if you do happen to have a copy of my book, on page 13 it shows a photo of my habit tracker, along with some details about how I use it. So now I'm going to move on to my second habit tracker page. And all 3 habit trackers that I show in this video are versions that I've used in the past. Again, I'm using a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen to write out the heading. And I'm next going to move on to creating a mini calendar on my page. With this type of tracker, you create a different box for each of the habits that you want to track. So I'm going to create 3 in this example, one for tracking my daily tidy, and also one for healthy eating and exercise. I've written out all of the numbers for the month, and I'm then just drawing grid lines around the box. For some easy decoration, I'm using a Tombow ABT brush pen to add shadows around the box and highlight the heading. And I think that this is a really good way of being able to quickly and easily see how you're doing on each specific habit. but I definitely find that it takes longer to set up than the first version because you're having to recreate this for each of the different habits. I'm just adding some stickers from my product range to the top. You could mark off your completed habits in any way you like, but I'm showing 3 examples. One where I use the brush pen to highlight the day where I've been able to complete the habits. And on the second one, I'm just going to draw a cross through each of the boxes. And when I move on to the third mini tracker, I'm going to create the same pattern that I did on that very first habit tracker that I completed. And I really like the look of these pages, but one of the reasons I did move away from it was because of how long it took to set up. But if you only have a few things you want to track, then I think this is a really good way of being able to do it. The final habit tracker that I'm going to share with you is one in a circular design. So I'm starting off by using this compass to draw lots of circles. And in this example, I'm going to create a habit tracker with 7 different habits. So for this, I will need the 7 circles, each one getting slightly smaller. To make sure that the circles are an even distance apart, I'm moving the compass in by 1 dot each time. The next thing I'm doing is using this helix circular protractor, and I will mark off a little dot at each of the 10-degree intervals, and I'll do this all the way around to number 30 for the 30 days in November. And once I've got those marks on my page, I will use a ruler so that I can break each of the sections down. And this will give me a box for each of the habits for each 30 days of the month. This style of habit tracker does take a little while to set up, but I do really like the look of it once it's all completed throughout the month. I'm just checking that I've got those 30 sections that I need. Once I'm happy I've got the diagram in pencil, I'm inking all of the lines in using a Staedtler pigment liner. One of my favourite things about having a habit tracker is that at the end of the month I've got a really clear visual picture of where I'm doing well, and also a chance to consider any changes that I might need to make. And I find that habits are really important for me to be able to move towards my goals and make sure that I'm also balancing things out, so that I'm not just focusing on work where possible, I'm also doing things that are important for me and my health and my home life. With the circle now completed, I'm going to use 2 different coloured Tombow ABT brush pens to letter in the heading. And I will then use a Staedtler pigment liner just to add some extra detail to those letters. I would love to know if you already use a habit tracker in your journal, or if you're now maybe considering starting one. I've been using a habit tracker for about 2 years now, and it's something that I wouldn't want to be without. It just really helps to keep me on track, and completing the tracker every evening is kind of a source of motivation in itself for me. The next thing I'm doing is writing out the 7 habits that I want to track. And for me they are daily tidy, good sleep, creativity, healthy eating, no alcohol, exercise and staying focused. For decoration, I'm going to use a strip of washi tape from London Gifties down the bottom, and I'm also going to cut out this flower to include at the top. You of course don't need to add any decoration to your habit trackers, but I do find personally that if I really like the look of a page, then I keep coming back to use it. To mark off the completed habits, I'm using the 2 different coloured Tombow ABT brush pens that I used for the heading. And I'm simply colouring in the boxes where the habits were completed. Though of course usually I would do this every evening rather than in one go. And I really like the look of how those colours are appearing on the page and how nicely it ties everything in together. I find that this style of habit tracker works really well if you don't have too many habits that you want to focus on at one time. I really like how this page is looking now it's completed. The one other thing I do in terms of habit tracking is that I keep a mini habit tracker on my weekly spread. So I have E for exercise, W for water, M for meditation and H for healthy eating, and I jot down how many minutes I exercise a day and also mark off the other habits, and that's to ensure that I'm doing something for my health and well-being each week. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, it would be great if you'd leave it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you really soon in the next one.